Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 368 of Off the Charts. My name is Dan, and I shall be your host today. So, cheers to you all. Before we start off, if you do like this type of content, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Hit the little thumbs up and the little bell to be notified when I publish new content like this. So today's episode is going to be a hot take one, almost like a rant. So disclaimer, okay? I want to make sure I do love all these bands, okay? I love their music, but it's sometimes what said band does outside or, well, you'll see where this is going here. So basically, it's me telling you guys who I find are bands or artists that are often full of shit. Okay. Again, I have all these albums. I love these bands, but we'll just go one by one and you'll see where I'm going with this. So, this is alphabetical, by the way, so there's no preference or whatever. So first one is I'm going to go with Bullet Boys, more specifically Mark Torian. Now, I used to love the Bullet Boys, okay? Their first three albums to me are great. And then they came out with this in, I guess, was it 94, 95, whatever. Not even this covers even. And when I got this on vinyl, because like I said, I'm a completist, whether bands will release good stuff or crap, 99% of my rule is I need to finish the collection. And this is basically what's been happening with this band for the last 20, 30 years almost. So when I got this, I posted on Instagram, and every time I post an album, I tag the artist. And I remember when this came out, this was so not well received by the public, especially the Bullet Boys fans. I was just like, what is this? This is like terrible sounding, so close to, so far, I should say, to what we were used to hearing by them. So when I posted that album on Instagram, I tagged them. It goes, oh, you liked our thanks for buying whatever. This is our album when we decided to go back to our punk rock roots. I was like, what? We talking about? Like, everybody was joining the bandwagon and to sound more grunge. Is it punk? Grunge is punk, maybe. But this was like so, like, they haven't been themselves, basically, or sounded like their first three albums since after the third album. And this is probably one of their worst. I really do not like this there. I don't see why Mark Torian thinks, like, we were even commenting in the comments, like my friend Mötley Crüe, who will be on the channel apparently in August. So he says, he's like, yeah, they should have retired in 1993. And the singer from Bullet Boys, Mark Torian, replies back to him, and he's just writes this big spiel, and we're gonna come out with new stuff. And I've heard the new stuff. There's one song I was like, is this a joke? Like, I think the song is called F Off or something like that. It's got the word fuck in it anyway. And then the song's okay, but then when the chorus it comes into, it's not even Mark Torian that sings the chorus, it's the guitarist, I guess. And the chorus is, I wanna know what the fuck is going on, something like that. And I was like, listening to this, I'm like, wow, this is this kick-ass material you're supposed to come out with. Terrible. But anyway, stay true to yourself. If you're gonna change direction, say it at the time. Don't give us this bullshit there that you wanted to go back to your hard rock or your punk rock roots. No, everybody was doing this BS there of going grunge or changing your style when hair metal was no longer the in thing. So that is my It's not one of the worst ones, okay? There's some really juicy ones coming soon there if you think this was actually pretty lame or tame. Okay, next up, everybody knows these guys. And to be fair, if I'm going to bash other bands, don't worry, I will be bashing my own favorite bands soon, okay? Just FYI. I'm not here to, cause enemies or whatever. This is just an opinion regarding bands I love, but stuff I'm tired of hearing from them or all the BS that they're verbal diarrhea. There you go. Cheers. Next up is I'm going to go with Guns N' Roses. So, okay, where do I even start with this guy here? So, my beef with this band, or more likely probably like Axl Rose, because this was starting to happen while he was just doing solo with a bunch of, he was still doing touring as Guns N' Roses, but with a bunch of people we never heard of. Well, like, I guess Bumblefoot now, we all know who that is there, but, stuff like that. So, Guns N' Roses. I do not like Guns N' Roses. Like, they're about as good as anything else that was coming out. To me, they're big time overrated and not the best thing ever in music, but whatever. That's another thing there. My beef with this band is the lateness factor of them going on stage. So at one time, my sister and her husband went to see Guns N' Roses, the version with Axl Rose and a bunch of hired guns. And I get a call around midnight from my sister, or a text or a call, I forget, because I was babysitting their oldest kid, or maybe both of them, I forget there. And then I get a text saying Axl Rose, like Guns N' Roses have not even hit the stage yet, and it's midnight. Apparently he's just flew. I'm like, okay. So, he arrived late. I went back home and from babysitting, blah, blah, blah. Then my friend Steph asked me, you want to go see Guns N' Roses with the so-and-so? I'm like, okay, fine, I'll go just to see what the big deal is from this show. And of course, the rumor of him going on stage very late were still like very active at that time. So we were kind of expecting it to be late, but kind of hoping it wasn't, Here's my beef with that plan. So I remember distinctively, we were having supper at Marshy's or whatever, Frank Finnegan's, I forget which place it was. And I'm a huge fan of Danko Jones. So I said, I want to go see Danko Jones because the show starts at 8. And I don't want to miss Danko Jones. So I paid my bill. My friends were going to come later on there. So I sit down and there's already this, probably 5-2. I go to my seat and there's already a band playing. I'm looking. I'm like, it's already Danko Jones playing. I'm like, okay, your ticket says 8 p.m. But the opening band's already playing. I'm like, okay, fuck, I missed maybe a song or two. I don't even know how many songs I missed. Finished with Danko Jones, then in came Sebastian Bach, and he was great. Talk about one of the better opening bands to get the crowd pumped up. He was getting everybody pumped up, like getting in the air, everybody's like, bouncing on the general admission and blah, blah, blah. And he finishes show, everybody's like, all right, like even I'm ready for Guns N' Roses. Then the waiting happened again. And we're waiting and waiting. And everybody's getting restless in the arena. And I told my friend, it says, after a while, I was getting, an hour and a half we waited after Sebastian Bach. So one, you get your first opening band to start earlier than they're supposed to. Two, you have an opening band like Sebastian Bach there to pump the crowd up. And the crowd was pumped. And then after that, an hour and a half goes by. Whatever Sebastian did was all for naught because everybody was getting pissed off. I remember having to go for a power dump during Sweet Child of Mine, and I couldn't hold it in anymore. I said, okay, I'm off to the bathroom. And the reason I remember this is because I'm walking the hall. There's nobody in the and the arena was no longer full. Like people were leaving home, and I was just like, "Why are you doing this? It's such bullshit." Like, sure, you want to be known as the guy that holds crowds, long, like, I'm gonna go on stage when I feel like it type of attitude there. And I was so livid that night. I told my friend Steph, never ever again am I gonna see Guns N' Roses. I'm done with this band. This BS of waiting an hour and a half is done. I'm done with these guys. Fast forward to a few years later when I was going out with my now ex, and she's like, "Oh, Guns N' Roses were coming to town in the outside stadium." I'm like, I'm not going to see those guys. Plus, the tickets were $100 to $300 each, and more on the ticket prices later there. So I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not paying for that. I mean, at the time when I was going out with her, we were going to see concerts that sometimes I vowed never go see again, like Def Leppard, or I've seen them so many times, and their shows basically is just putting on a CD. Anyway, that's another. But yeah, this $300 tickets. I'm like, no, no, I'm done. And we were hanging out with a bunch of friends, and they were buying tickets, and I was in my head secretly going, "You're paying $300 for a." It was expensive, maybe between two and three. I forget the exact price. But anyway, then I guess tickets weren't selling that great. I don't know. But I get a text message or a Facebook message from one of my friends saying, "You know what, Dan, the concert that your ex wants to go to there, they're now selling tickets for $30 each to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Appetite for Destruction." In my head, I'm calm. Bullshit. You're probably just not selling as many tickets as you should. But anyway, for $30, yeah, I went and bought tickets. So I bought tickets, and I was laughing. I was a pretty cocky person that day, or until the concert. It was like, I spent $30 on my ticket while you spent 300. And literally the people behind us, that's what their prices were paid. I'm like, I just $30, man. Okay, concert. The opening band, Our Lady Peace, was terrible. And I've seen them before. I hate Our Lady Peace, but they've put on way better shows before. This was just bad. So, but anyway, that concert, by the way, Guns N' Roses started the show on time. So I guess that era of that bullshit era of starting late there is over. Anyway, so that's another one right there. Guns N' Roses. Next up, probably one of the two kings of bullshit or full of shit there. So Kiss. You know me, I love Kiss. I'll always love Kiss no matter what. This is always going to be my favorite band. Having said that, holy crap, guys, every time you hear, well, not as much of late there, but near the end of the road tours, like, okay, are they going to have Ace and Peter there? And what makes me like, why I say that they're full of shit is like, it's always like, if every time you talk to Gene or Paul, it's always Ace and Peter's fault. Always, everything back then. Sure, probably most of it is, okay? But I don't know there, and it's like, and then of course Ace comes in on it too and starts bashing. Oh, I'm gonna reveal something about Paul if he doesn't apologize. He's got 24 hours. I'm like, what is this? This is such bullshit. So these bands, like, and I know, not that I know, I'll assume that when a band is no longer talked about, this is just my theory. I have no proof, but I'll explain why my theory has some sort of proof. Where when a band is no longer being talked about on social media, let's say people are no longer talking to me about, no longer talking about said band. Sometimes out of nowhere, just to get the interest back into the public, there'll be some sort of conspiracy or a fight between bands, and not just Gene and Paul. I'm going to blame Ace too in his camp, because I remember back when 10,000 Volts came out, oh, everything's one of my best albums. This'll tell Paul to shut up or put a shame in his face, whatever. And then everything was going good. Oh yeah, by the way, it was Steve Brown produced it and helped us, blah blah. After a month later, I noticed nobody's actually talking about that Ace Frehley album anymore, because probably everybody who wanted to buy it has now got it. Out of nowhere, you see this thing online where Ace Frehley and Steve Brown are going at it. No, Steve Brown saying I played like 97% of the guitar on the new album, while Ace says no, he's full of shit, blah blah. You know what? That is, again, people. Oh, that's right. There's an album out. I forgot maybe to buy it the first time. Now I'll go get it because people are talking about it. What I find they're full of shit is 5 months later, maybe even less, there was a picture of Ace Frehley with Steve Brown as if they're best friends on Facebook. I'm just like, well, why are you telling this? But anyway, Kiss, as much as I love them, and a lot of people will be sending me, look what Gene said, look what Paul said. You know what? I don't even care anymore. I'm 53. I like the band for the reasons I liked them back when I was a teen. And I like the songs. I love the songs. And that should be it. Whether Gene said, rock and roll is dead, that's another thing that's been coming up. But I just find them to be, right now, like Kiss is more like, oh, it's always Ace and Peter's fault. Always, always. But it's never their fault. Like, when something doesn't go right or whatever. Anyway, I'm tired of this BS, of online bickering and blah, blah, blah there. But that's for Kiss. There's so much more for Kiss. I could do a whole episode on this one here. But I should stop drinking too fast. Yeah, I find, as much as I love Kiss, they are so full of shit here too. And speaking of full of shit, this next one is not directed at a band, but a person in particular. So I'm going to go with Dave Mustaine. Now, Dave, if you're watching this, which I doubt you are making it very, very difficult for me or other people to start to keep defending you, okay? Every 2-3 years, it's something different, bitching about Metallica this, Metallica that. Man, this has been going on, well, since he got kicked out. Then you don't hear anything from here. Then he goes and writes a song. Basically, the system has failed. It's got so many hints of Metallica hateism, I guess, in that. It's like, and I saw the tour for that. It's just like, then of course, he was coming down, and Some Kind of Monster, that Metallica DVD came out, and he's in there whining about not being in Metallica and how do you think I feel, blah blah. And even at that time, I was defending him, but now it's just like it's one thing after, and almost every time he gets interviewed, he's bitching about Metallica. The last one was, well, there was two of them where he was bitching about Enter Sandman's riff was stolen from something else, and again, Mechanics versus Four Horsemen. Whatever. I like, Dave, enough. You're, like I said, you're making it very difficult for your fans to keep defending you. This has got to stop. Enough. People don't want to hear you bitch about Metallica. Every time I see it, I roll my eyes on. I don't even read the articles anymore. It's just so stupid. So yeah, Dave Mustaine, just shut up. Like, every time you're on being interviewed, it's just like the same old thing. So just like, okay, enough. Okay, so that's my big beef with, and of course now I'll say probably in about a year he'll be bitching about Metallica again. And now the last thing was maybe about a month or two ago regarding the Mechanics thing in Enter Sandman. What we shall see. Next up is, you'll probably see this one coming here, Mötley Crüe. Where to start for Mötley Crüe? Well, first of all, I am on Team Mick Mars. Okay? That's one thing. That was such shit. Like, how they went about that was so hurtful and bad and insulting. Okay? But that's not the only thing. So I remember when they said we are retiring, no ifs or buts about it. And you know, okay, my Mötley Crüe is now retiring, so they say. My friend Steph, you know, who does the Battle of the Albums, actually went all the way to Las Vegas because he's a huge Mötley Crüe fan, okay? Because he wanted to be there for the last show ever that Mötley Crüe did, which is cool. I respect him for that. Then The Dirt, that movie came out, and suddenly Mötley Crüe is out of retirement and saying, "Well, we owe it to the kids that really loved our movie. They must be wondering why or how we are live and blah blah blah." First of all, no, they weren't. Well, you know what? Maybe they were. Okay, let's. You guys made a big deal about signing a contract and no, never ever playing live again. And then this happens with The Dirt, and then they do this. I don't even know how to explain this here, but because of The Dirt's popularity, we decided to come out of retirement, and we owe it to the fans or the new. No, nobody actually asked for you to come back live, okay? To come back and doing this here. And then, of course, they do the stadium tour. Everybody's talking about how Vince sounds bad. Poison apparently was the best band on that leg, or that tour, I should say. Nobody's ever talking about how Vince, actually, everybody is talking about how Vince's vocals are bad. Nobody's talking about, Mick Mars is he good or bad, whatever. Nothing, okay? Until out of nowhere he says, I got to retire. Then it just became a verbal shouting match. No, he was fired. He can't do it anymore. No, I quit, and blah, blah, blah. Then they go and hire John Five, and I saw that lineup live. Again, the problem was never Mick Mars. You guys are so full of shit with, and of course, the last thing that they came out with was with that Dolly Parton Home Sweet Home, which nobody asked for. Nobody asked for that. Whatever. But yeah, I just feel bad for my friend Steph. Spending so much money to go to Las Vegas to go see this, to be told that right now, that memory that you have regarding, having seen your favorite band at a last concert is now nothing, means nothing. That's what I find is a shame with Mötley Crüe. Is they're like Kiss, they're basically, laughing in the face of all their fans and saying, you know what, we'll do what we want. Screw what we said. You guys will forget about it, and I haven't, and I'm here to remind everybody that this is still going on there. But yeah, it's. I mean, I know the Who did it. Apparently, it's their final tour again. But didn't the Who announce a farewell tour like in the '80s? And here we are, 2025, and they're still touring. Well, two band members, because the rest are dead there. But I don't want this to sound bad, but we all know, at least we know that when Ozzy did his final show, it's the final show, okay? But yeah, like Mötley Crüe, again, you're making it very difficult for us fans to defend you, okay? I will defend Nikki Sixx regarding the apparently lip syncing his bass lines. Okay, it's not real. Yeah, it is real, because I saw a concert here in Ottawa where Mick Mars's guitar went out and they boosted the bass so you can hear just the bass. And since he wrote the songs, he must know the chords, because it was playing, instead of going just open A or open E, he was doing dun 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 dun. It was cool to hear. But your reunion tour again, and that re-releasing of Home Sweet Home with Dolly Parton, and that canceled EP was so bad. To whoever likes it, that's not. I'm bravo if you do like it. I really don't like that new sound there. But yeah, Mötley Crüe. most of these bands, I find that they will end up tarnishing their legacy with this shit or this bullshit there. So next up, I have, again, it's one member of the band, not the band itself. So I'm gonna go with Dee Snider from Twisted Sister. Every time he's being interviewed, as there's a post about him, social media, my reaction is always, oh, great. What is he bitching about now? And he's usually bitching about something. They stole this from us, they did that. The only time I actually agreed with him, but the public didn't, was maybe 4 or 5 months ago. He said that Ronnie James Dio was not a great frontman. Oh my God, that people like, and of course they're like, guys, there's a difference between a frontman and a singer. Ronnie James Dio is a great singer. Is he a great frontman? Probably not. Or was he a great frontman? But every time it's just bitching about something. I remember buying the Dee Snider autobiography. Me and my friend Pascal bought that for my friend Steph's birthday. And I go back and I'm like, how was it? He goes, oh, there's a lot of bitching in the book. So I actually got it myself, and I was like, oh my God, it's right. It's just bitching about. Oh, same thing with I'll add with Kiss. A lot of their books is bitching about all the other three, or sometimes just two there. But it's like at one time it's like, well, who the hell do I believe now? There's four members and they all have four different opinions. Again, that makes that credibility go down really fast when they've got four. Like, who the hell am I supposed to believe? But yeah, Dee Snider is just like, I forget examples there, but I'll say this: he's been a little bit quieter in the last year, but before that, just like on social media, and betcha because I'm thinking about it, there he'll be saying something. He'll have something to say about Ozzy if he hasn't already there. I haven't heard anything there. I bet you there'll be a compliment mixed in with an insult or some bitching in there. But yeah, it's like every time you see Dee Snider said this, I'm like, again, I roll my eyes, and it's like, what is it this time? Talk to Papa. But yeah, it's like, again, I don't care about what was said, but it gets very tiresome to see that this is basically what they're trying to do to get into the to stay alive in social media, is just to friggin' bash people or being so full of shit or just saying bullshit after bullshit or verbal diarrhea. There you go. But I have three more. Next up, this isn't, well, so I'm gonna go with Van Halen. Okay. Now, this one's a trickier one. So, first time when David Lee Roth left and Sammy came in, oh my God, David Lee Roth was the enemy. They wanted nothing to do with that guy. Then Sammy left. David Lee Roth came back for that infamous American Music Awards thing, and that again came back to bite them in the ass. So in comes Gary Sharon. That failed, and at the time they were like bashing Sammy as to why they fired him or he quit or whatever. I'm just like, whatever. But then came the reunion tour with David Lee. Sorry, there was another failed reunion tour with Sammy. My friend saw it, but apparently there was still bad blood and backstage there. But then came the reunion with David Lee Roth, which was not really treated properly, if you ask me, regarding certain past band members. So I'm not going to talking about Sammy, but I'm talking about Michael Anthony. Now, it's bad enough that you don't get invited to be in that reunion show, but I totally get that, Eddie Van Halen wanted to play with his son. That's fine, okay? It's whatever or not. Just be honest with it in the media, which they weren't. Well, to a point. What I found where they were full of shit was there came at that same time around the reunion era. There was a video game, Van Halen Guitar Hero, that came out. Now, I I never bought it because I saw screenshots, and what I saw on screenshots seemed to be Wolfgang Van Halen in the game as opposed to Michael Anthony. Now, tell me if I'm full of shit if I actually got this one wrong, but I I can't really see anymore. I don't have the game anymore. I never bought it, but you saw live footage of you could be Van Halen in 1978 like you could be Van Halen in 1995, or but the bass player was always in the video game Wolfgang Van Halen as opposed to Michael Anthony, which I definitely did not agree with, and I thought that was actually talk about a way to try to erase someone's legacy and membership in a band, whether he's part of it now or no longer. Now, there's also the Alex Van Halen, after his brother's passing, came out with a book, and apparently he praises David Lee Roth, but Sammy was this and that, and Sammy chimes in, and I'm like, oh my God, here we go again. Like, back in the 90s or late 80s, it was always the Sammy versus David Lee Roth, David versus Sammy argument. It was probably one of the biggest arguments ever in music. And you always had to pick one or the other. You couldn't do both, basically. I, at the time, had chosen Sammy, but, with time, I'm actually, breaking the rules. I'm gonna go with both. Both have their good sides and their bad sides. I like both eras equally. But yeah, it's uh, anyway. That's one of those arguments that it's done. But again, I just what I'm trying to say for this one here is like again, because nobody's talking about Van Halen at the time, so it's like, oh, now we got a book coming out with Alex Van Halen. Let's make as much publicity about it as much as we can. And of course, what type of publicity do people usually want? They want negative publicity because it's fun to read when there's an argument or there's something in between bands. And it goes back to my theory. What's going to sell more books? Everything is honky dory between Alex and Sammy, or Alex did not even mention Sammy, apparently. I didn't read the book there in his new autobiography. So that, of course, started another argument online. And it's like, again, you're tarnishing your legacy with this bullshit here, guys. So that's another one for Van Halen. Again, that could be an episode all in itself right there. Two more. This one here is really full of shit here. So Vinnie Vincent, whether you like his music or not, and even people that I know who love his music are like, this guy is got to be one of the most unpredictable, unreliable persons ever to be in the music business. Like, and there's a lot of these stuff that I heard. So like Vinnie Vincent at one time had this box set of cassettes. Okay, so you were able to order online some cassettes, like a box set of Guitar Mageddon. I don't know if that's what the one is there. So people who ordered this box set were, okay, your order has been shipped, and they received the package, but it's just the outside. It's just like the box of the set. There's no cassettes in it. It was just like, and everybody apparently was getting the same thing. And of course, he got asked about that in one of his Q&As. What happened to the box set? And of course, he's blaming the company and doing this and that. And it's like, man, just take ownership. I effed up or whatever. And how many times has he booked like an appearance here and then charging these ridiculous amounts for meet and greets, or like I think he was charging as much or close, if not more, than what Kiss would charge as a meet and greet. And Kiss are four. This guy's just a one guy. Again, my numbers aren't very clear on that there, but yeah, like Vinnie Vincent keeps promising new music. So I actually follow him on Facebook just because, again, you know me, I'm a completist. So every time that there's going to be a new album, for the last year and a half on Facebook, he's been showing these little snippets of old new songs. I don't think these are new songs, and they're like, okay, do you like this song more? Coming soon. And then of course now it's been like 3 4 months. I haven't heard a peep from him on Facebook. I'm like, what are you promoting here? And what I find weird about him is, back when I first joined his Facebook group, he was actually not letting people comment. So all comments, or certain people are only allowed to comment. And of course, you had to pay at one time. I don't know if that's still a thing there, but at one time there was like a $25 fee if you wanted to join his Facebook group. I've never even heard of a Facebook group that you needed to pay to get in. That's how bad that was there. But if you do want some entertainment, though, I would actually follow Vinnie Vincent on Facebook. It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion. Promising this song, promising that song. My friend Steve, who loves Vinnie Vincent from Rock and Metal Invasion, he's not even sure if he can still play, because he keeps promoting or re-release or showing us these clips of sounds like older songs. But apparently there was supposed to be an album. I don't know if it was last year or is it this year. I'm like, who knows? Like I haven't heard anything on the Vinnie Vincent camp on Facebook. I just find it odd that you had to be chosen to be able to comment. I'm not able to comment. I can tell you that right now. There, maybe he just let a whole bunch of yes men to be able to comment, because there's never. It seems every time there's a negative comment, it's either taken down or ignored or whatever there. But like, I'm sure there are Vinnie Vincent fans out there who actually want a product from you. Stop giving them the runaround. Like, stop with this bullshit and actually give them what they want. They actually want this new or this old new album of Guitar Mageddon. Apparently it's a double album or whatever. I don't know. Your fans actually want to hear it. Stop dicking them around for like the last 5 10 years and give out that product. Oh yeah, and he was blaming like that cassette thing. I don't know if I finished my story. He was blaming the record company for not going through with the rights of the cassette, so that's why they were sending out just a case. In like, instead of doing that, why don't you just cancel the order and just say, you know what, due to X number of reason, the box set has now been either canceled or indefinitely shelved. They did that with the first DVD of Ed Wood. We were supposed to go buy the Ed Wood, let's say it was coming out August 1st, let's say. We went to the store August 1st, hearing hints online that it wasn't going to be released that day. They just didn't put it on the floor for people to buy. There was a rights. Anyway, so that product was made, I guess, but somebody didn't do their job with the rights there. Just release your music, Vinny. End of story. Enough with this bullshit there of, oh, I want to make sure everything's good or this or that. And it's just like, you're pissing off a lot of people, not just your fans, but like these backstage passes that are ridiculous. It's anything to make a buck, and I don't think he's actually been making a buck, because anything that he's been promising has always fallen through. So yeah, Vinnie Vincent there. That's a doozy right there. I honestly do not understand what's happening at that guy's mind. Like whether he's a great guitarist or a little too much over the top. Whatever. It is what it is there. But yeah, stop with the bullshit. Give the people what they want. End of story. And last one here. I'm gonna go with Wasp. Now, this is the classic little boy who cried wolf story regarding Wasp. So we had tickets to go see Wasp. Sorry, my friends had tickets to go see Wasp at Barrymore's when he came here because I was off to see Van Halen in Montreal. Okay, that's and then my friend was there, and then they were like bringing the stuff out of the bar and into the truck, and my friend's like, shouldn't it be going in? Anyway, he canceled at the last minute due to our stage not being able to hold his mic stand, and his mic stand is huge. It's almost like the top of a motorcycle, and he stands on top of like a podium. So that podium plus the mic stand, it looks like a motorcycle from hell, could not fit on the stage. Okay, it got canceled because the stage wasn't strong enough, and he didn't want to just put a normal mic. Now, okay, you could probably be upset, just do the show. Like you're already there, you're gonna piss off people just by canceling because of a friggin' mic stand. And it actually got around because it's actually in one of Martin Popoff's books. I forget which one, and he goes, ignore the mic issue in Ottawa, something like that. And I was like, oh my god, we actually made the book. So I remember my friend telling me about that. Then we were supposed to see Wasp open for Iron Maiden and Dio back. That was in the virtual 11, and we all went all the way to Hamilton. And I think Dirty. There was a fourth band. I forget the name. Not Dirty Tricks. Anyway, some produced by Steve Harris band was the opener. Then Wasp was supposed to be. Then Dio. Then Maiden. After the first banner, we're like, all right, cool, Wasp. Finally, we'll get to see Wasp. And I don't know where you could just see the big banner for Dio. I'm like, again? Okay, so he canceled again, not showing up. So for that one, thank God Dio was there, because that would have been a shit show because Maiden wasn't that great that night. Blaze Bayley was really off. Let me put it that way. So that was strike two. Then they are announcing that 40th anniversary of Wasp. So like, and it was Armored Saint opening. So I'm like, I tell my friends about it. Oh yeah, well, let's get tickets. So we bought tickets for Wasp and Armored Saint, only to be told that, oh, I'm having pain and in my back, and we're gonna be canceling that tour and postpone. I'm like, again? Now, I understand that he did have an issue with his back. Okay, I'm not bitching about the fact that he had to cancel a third time. I'm bitching about the canceling the second time. And then you get a third time, which is not really his fault. I mean, it's a health issue. But then I'm like, okay, I'm done with these guys. Like, enough. I'm not buying tickets for these guys. And also at the time, they were saying, well, basically what he was saying is, I want the people to have the best possible experience. So yeah, we do have backing tracks for the background vocals because I want people to have the best show. Like, with all that's happening with lip syncing and all that, I wouldn't actually go and brag about that. And if you're unable to do a concert by singing yourself, you shouldn't even actually be on tour. If your voice is too shot, just call it a day. Like, it's same thing goes for Kiss, same thing goes for Crüe. Like, I don't want to just be picking on one band there, but Wasp for me I just find him so full of shit, Blackie sometimes, and it's always his word against Chris Holmes right now in the media. Uh, you don't even know who to believe anymore. Like what Chris Holmes says seems to have some leverage, but mind you, so does what Blackula. So where is the truth? We'll never know. That's what annoys me with these bands there. But yeah, that's my big, I guess, rant. Like I said, I want to make it clear. I still do love the music. So like I said, Bullet Boys from Acid Monkey and up, everything has been terrible for that. Guns N' Roses, well, I'm never gonna go see these guys again. This time it's true. I'm done. Megadeth, Dave, stop bitching online. You're just hurting yourself, and you make it very difficult for your fans to go and take your side. This is Wasp. All their cancellations have put a bad taste in my mouth that I will never give that band another chance. And my friends Jason and Steph, for the fourth time when they did come back with that Montreal show, my friend Steph was actually in Montreal. She says, "Well, I might as well buy a ticket if they don't play. See how the reputation is. Well, if they don't play, I'll at least already be in Montreal. You know." He did play and played a good show apparently there. My friend Steph and Jason were there. But yeah, I'm done with, unless he comes here in Ottawa, which would be not too bad, but I'm not going out of town for that guy ever again. Vinnie Vincent, my God, it's like, just get off social media. that that's plain and simple. Or announce, or if you're gonna be on social media, announce something that's actually worthwhile, that actually people are having. There's a date attached to this said post, an actual new song, or just deliver on to your fucking promises. That's it. Mötley Crüe, well, that retirement thing was a doozy. Nobody's actually taking you seriously anymore. Van Halen, again, that one, again, I remember seeing a part of a video of that rock star, or a Guitar Hero, I should say, and seeing old footage of Van Halen, but it was Wolfgang's avatar that was playing the bass, not Michael Anthony. But that's not just the only thing about Van Halen. They've been at their each other's throats since Dave left the band back in 84, 85. And it's just been like, whoever is their current singer, they're going to go and bash the other ones. So, and last one, Twisted Sister, Dee Snider. Dee, just shut up. Just shut up. That's it. Anyway, that's my little, but again, musically, guys, I still like these bands. You can see I keep buying their music. At this point of my life, it's just about, like, as a teen, you're, impressionable adult, and you still can be quite influenced by what your favorite bands do. Now it's just, you hear what you're just gonna look at the headline and see if there's actually gonna be any bitching. I'm like, okay, just roll my eyes, and then I don't even pay attention anymore. So you're basically just hurting yourself and your legacy that you're leaving on this earth in the music industry. So any bands that I missed, or artists that I missed that you find are full of shit, so you let me know in the comments, guys. Again, this is not a rant to start getting people to get mad here. I think I've actually given a fair example for each band as to why I find that they're full of shit. So there you go. On that note, thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments, who do you think is full of shit in the music world, and we'll get the discussion going. So take care, have yourself a great whatever, and we'll see you guys next episode. Take care, bye-bye.